workshop items for discussion only. Item A, 2021, good lord, capital bond project closeout update. Has it been that long?
Yes.
Wow.
Great, you guys are on.
I'm going to walk, if everybody's all right with that. Mr. Crenshaw, do I still need to talk into this?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Makes it
What am I-
easier. with
What am
the-
I using the presentation? Yeah,
Yep.
that's all.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Brad Anderson. I'm the Senior Project Manager with the Chrisman Company. We were your builder for the 2021 bond program. Last time I came up and talked in front of you with Plan Moran was all the way back in February, and we had a handful of outstanding items around the punch list from the 2021 bond program. So we just wanted to give you a quick update on where everything is at, and then I believe that there's a slide or two from Plant Moran to talk about the financial update on the bond program as well. So can you go ahead and, next slide, please. Keep going. All right. Nope, that was it.
That's it? Okay. Oh, too far.
That's it right there. So back in February, we had 109 items that were on the original punch list at the time that I was up in front of you. We had the 16 that are shown on the screen right here that were still open. Since that time, 15 of the 16 have been closed. The only item that is still open right now from the 2021 bond program is installation of the marquee sign on the junior high. And I don't know if any of you drove past there on the way to the meeting tonight, but it is currently being hung on the side of the building, and we'll have power to it tomorrow. So after tomorrow, that item should be able to get checked off the list. Any questions on any of those items?
Yes, where is that sign?
It is on the
East face,
east side of the building, right above the entrance.
So where the circle drive?
where the circle
Yeah.
is.
The new bus loop that's out there.
Probably drive.
If you're looking at the building, it's to the left of the entrance where the old lettering was that said Redford Union High School.
They're probably still out there. You know, take a walk after the.
So do you guys have to take down the sign, Redford Union High?
We left lettering up that says Redford Union. We brought down the letters that said high school off of it.
And what do we do with those?
I believe that they're laying out there right now with the crew.
Do you mind-
Those will be turned over to the district afterwards.
Do you mind if we offer them to the historical commission? I don't know. if
They'll
we'll
be
take
turned
them.
over to the district and we'll discuss what we'll do next.
Any other questions?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Next slide, please. One more. All right. So for your viewing pleasure on here and also printed out in front of you, we have a handful of pictures from those items that were completed. The top left here is on top of the roof over at the high school. This is the gas lines that were painted yellow to support the new equipment that was installed. The bottom left is the window in the junior high cafeteria that was installed. The top middle, there were some touch-ups that had to be done to the gym floor. Those were completed the other day. Below that is the new handrail over at Old Schoolhouse that was on the punch list, completion list that we had talked about back in February. That has since been completed. And then in the top right, that is the multi-purpose room at the high school and the secondary campus. Those light fixtures that you see there that look kind of like bells, those were recently installed. We had previously had some temporary lights that were installed in there, and these are the permanent ones. Any questions on those pictures?
Yes. That window, I can't place it. What's the window? Is the window look through or what?
That window is, on the other side of that window is a future meeting space.
Oh,
And that's in the cafeteria?
Yes, it's in
Yep.
the junior high cafeteria.
Which is the old high school cafeteria.
Correct.
The original cafeteria. Okay, just for reference.
Okay, you can go to the next slide, please.
It's on the east end of the cafeteria.
Couple more photos in here. These were not on the punch list, but these are some showcase elements that were added in over at the old schoolhouse. So on the left, there was an access panel in the ceiling in there. That panel has been removed and replaced with a piece of plexiglass, so that while you're in there enjoying the old schoolhouse, you can look up and see the historic rafters in there. And then on the right, to highlight the original brick construction of the building, We did have a section of the old plaster opened up and removed and framed.
Is that, I don't remember, was it post and beam construction or finished wood?
There's wood up in there.
Yeah, I know, but post and beam or cut wood?
Just conventional framing, conventional frame rafters, yeah.
So
Thank you,
there's
Chuck.
no light or anything, you're just looking up into the dark in the attic?
Correct. We did not install a light up in there.
A light is something that could easily be added if it has to at some point.
Absolutely.
Any questions on those items? Okay. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. And then Jason, I don't know who is going to be talking about this, if that's Jim.
I mean, I'll do it.
Okay.
This is just a summary of, I know there's been different, I know that when we began to experience some financial uncertainties and unknowns and things that were unexpected, that there were questions raised relative to the budget for the projects. And we have been working with our new interim CFO and also the people from Plant Moran, but it was stated before that it was my understanding and belief.
Yeah, that's part of his discussion.
What was?
We're just asking questions. We're not understanding why we have a,
That stuff is for item number 2B, district property, future use disposition, and a follow-up on something else that was asked at this board table.
thank you. We were confused for a minute, we're sorry.
So we're still on the presentation.
Okay, we were looking ahead, we're sorry.
Looking at all these people, who are these?
Look.
We have one of our students in the audience, and we need to be good examples for him.
Okay.
Don't make me go discuss it.
You can't read ahead.
Darn,
I apologize.
we're not really naughty.
No, but that's why that information was
Okay.
included.
We were confused for a second, we're sorry.
So we know there were questions about there were questions regarding our spending relative to the 2021 bond project and how that related to where we were spending wise. And so this has been looked at by Baker Tilly, who worked with us on the financing of the 2021 bond project. It was also discussed with Plant Moran, Mr. Wills, who would be here tonight if he wasn't halfway around the world right now, enjoying France. And
I
so,
don't think we approved that.
but we got Mr. Steiner here, so we're good.
He's way cooler than Paul.
He didn't get to
Don't
go to
tell Paul I
France.
said that.
He did not get the invite to France. And it was discussed also with our Maria, our Gissinger, our interim CFO, and we looked at it, and based on where we're at and the numbers that have been reviewed thus far, this is a current budget to actual cost, and this accounts for the $59 million that we had in bond funds, as well as the food service funds that were allocated for projects, because at that time we had that surplus, so we were trying to spend that down. There were times when we could allocate projects and costs towards food service. We did so. It also accounts for interest earnings on the $59 million bond, which were favorable during the stretch that we undertook this project. So that's a case where high interest rates actually worked in the district's favor for once. And then it also includes other sources, including at an earlier point in the bond projects, up to $6 million of ESSER funds were allocated to be used. That were gonna be, cost expenses in our general fund that could be paid for under ESSER were allocated so we could use up to $6 million of funds. And I just want you to know that the reconciliation to date shows us, and ultimately the 2021 bond spending will be audited or reviewed as part of the audit. But the difference of budget to actual shows that we were within our spending allocation for the 2021 bond. So that's what this is meant to show.
So you're saying we're $50,000 good, right? Is that what this means?
No, actually, we're saying that within the amount that was, the maximum amount that was allocated to be spent relative to the 2021 bond projects, that we were actually almost $3 million under that actual amount. That maximum.
But we don't have $3 million in the banks.
No, we don't.
Do we have?
And that's due
do we
to,
have
that's due to some of the other reasons that we've reviewed with the
Right.
board.
Right.
But I just wanted to try to reassure the board that based on the numbers that we have available to us, that we lived within the project expenditures that were allowed. Because there's this notion that somehow some of our financial challenges we have now that we're dealing with and had to deal with in the adopted budget was a product of overspending on that allocated amount.
I think our concern was that we believed, and maybe misinterpreted, that there was still $1.7 million of bond money sitting in the bank somewhere, which probably wasn't the case. And given the integrity, but not integrity as in he was not honest, but the lack of transparency in the way things were being shuffled from this fund to this fund, I think many of us were concerned that not only did this $1.7 million not exist, right, but that we were probably overspent out of our general fund. And so,
Well, I recognize the concern and the
Yeah.
reason for the concern, and that's why we wanted to provide that update sheet as well.
To the chair.
Mr. Bailey.
So, Mr. Wood, forgive me. So we beat our projected costs, right? That's what you're saying. But we beat it by how much?
Based on this analysis,
$2,900,000.
it shows that we had, through different fund sources that I described, we could have spent up to, the board had approved a max expenditure of $66.7 million. And allocated cost to date is actually 63.8 almost. So that leaves that, I think it's pretty clear, Mr. Bailey, that number of 2.985.
So we came on, see how easy that is? We came under by $2,900,000. Yes, I see that. Thank you.
Now, we created, unfortunately, some other problems were created in our general fund,
Right.
Okay.
but we did not overspend. The biggest point is, we did not overspend the funds that this board allocated to be spent on projects related to the 2021 capital bond project work. In fact, we were under that amount.
So, with all the words, I'm still not clear when I say, if you came under budget by $2,985,000, you did damn good, right? Again, with all words, I'm not sure if that still applies.
Yes, that's what the analysis indicates.
So we still have $2,985,000 sitting somewhere that we can use?
Because a portion of those funds that were allocated were supposed to have been offset in the general fund. And that's where our previous CFO, who's no longer here, did not account for things appropriately, which is the primary reason why he's no longer here.
So this $2.9 million essentially had to make the general fund whole because it wasn't tracked properly. We'll say tracked properly.
It wasn't accounted for properly, yes.
Yeah.
And we can use bond money like that into the general fund?
The bond money was not used, Mr. Bailey. The bond money consisted of $59 million. Then beyond that amount, the board authorized use of food service funds, where food service funds could be utilized on projects. There was some projects that even had dovetailed into Act 18 spending because it impacted the buildings and our programs related to our center-based programs we operate. And then again, there was an allocation of up to $6 million from the general fund to be used to complete projects related to the 2021 bond. So bond funds were not used, no. The $59 million was the bond fund amount.
And for the old schoolhouse, do you remember how much we totaled out spending on that?
I can get that figure, but no, off the top of my head, I do not.
Yes, that'd be interesting.
1.1,
1.1, somewhere around there.
way more than we originally planned, but
So 1.1 million?
that's my guess.
We'll get you a specific number, I'm not gonna speculate.
They're looking to see if they have it, but
I can
that's.
tell you our portion, but not the total.
Yeah, I'm not gonna speculate, I'll get an exact total. I'll get a total and I'll provide it to the board. And I will say this, because this question was asked when our closeout report was asked for. The one project that was not specifically identified, but was obviously needs to still be done, that wasn't accomplished in the 2021 bond, is we need to identify a final solution relative to the home of the long-term home of our baseball program. So that was the one project that was not completed, and Mr. Osowski had asked for an update relative to anything that was planned and needed that was not accomplished. So that would be it.
All right, thank you. So are there any further questions with regards to this? All right. Do we want to, since we're doing capital bond, do we want to go with C instead of B next? Or do you want to do?
Well, we don't want to do C necessarily right now because we have someone in the room who
Wants to leave?
who was involved in interviewed recently for C.
Oh, okay.
If there's no other items, we're fine.
Does anybody, before they leave, have any additional questions for either Senior Project Manager Anderson or is it Senior Vice
Just
President?
Joe, just Joe.
Joe Luther?
It's just
You know,
Joe.
this big fancy title.
It's just Joe.
Or Chuck from French. Although Chuck can stick around because we're going to talk about they named French as the
I mean,
AE.
you can stay, because, yeah.
Chuck can stay forever.
Chuck's already on the team for the next one.
I will stay.
I
I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
And see, I didn't even have to.
Chuck, you're good.
Now those things about
Miles,
standing
Miles
up in
get
the
to
perfect
leave.
position for
I'm
it.
not leaving, go second myself.
Oh, trust me, if Miles leaves, if Miles leaves before he and I get to talk, he's gonna hear an earful on the way home.
Alright, so we'll move on to B,
Yeah.
the district property, future use disposition.
Yes, item B, the district property and future use disposition. I just wanted to touch on this, and this is where we did provide some new information to the board. But I wanted to try to mention this as well, because this kind of does tie into that in some fashion. And that's this information. So what you have in front of you is there were questions asked before relative to our past disposition of district property, and questions relative to, there were difference of opinions that I've heard at different times in different conversations, and not necessarily conversations with the board, but there were some questions relative to the ownership of the former Roosevelt property. So what you have in front of you, everywhere from this document that you have, up until this document, which is related to item D on the agenda. Everything in between is related to the district property, that district's past disposition of the Roosevelt property. For anyone who doesn't know, the Roosevelt property that we're talking about is adjacent to our bus garage. And what this shows is, as much as we could find through looking at, Jackie was digging through stuff at my request, and as much as she could piece together from looking at past board meeting agendas and then accompanying information, and then I think Terry, I believe Terry Areola, actually, who says she just like changes dates and stuff and information. Jack, I believe Terry actually found the copy of the quitclaim deed document, because she maintains the business office records. But what this shows is there was, over the course of time, there were different discussions around that property. And and some board actions relative to that property. And I want to give you time to digest this, because I know you just are receiving this for the first time. Yeah. But I wanted to provide the board with the information they need. This is as much of a paper trail as we were able to put together that shows that ultimately that property was quitclaim deed to the Charter Township of Redford. We maintained an easement to such property, which was the same easement they were talking about asking us to deed over to them as well, so that they could, relative to the catch basin project that they're working on right now. But I just wanted to let you know, there were questions about, well, did the superintendent do something on their own? Did this happen? Did that happen? I was trying as much as possible to piece together what was done, and all of these documents relate to the disposition of that property, but it culminates, as you will see, in a quitclaim deed being executed to give the township the property. I think it was for the large sum of $1.
Yeah, you see that? And that they would tear it down and we wouldn't have.
Now, again, there is that property agreement as well. But what's interesting about that property agreement is the property agreement that talks this demolition of Roosevelt document. I did actually have a chance to review that this afternoon, and you'll see it when you dig into it. that actually says we were to share the cost 50-50 with regards to the demolition.
That's what we always heard. And
But I will
the
say,
whole
this is
thing-
not a signed copy of that agreement, so
Right.
I don't know for certain if this is the final agreement that was executed or not.
We always, that's the way we always heard it, and that the property would kind of be jointly managed, like it would still be our property. I'll just say, having not been on the board at that time, and Mr. Osowski wasn't, that's the way it was implied, whether that, that they would help us with the cost of tearing it down, and because of that, then they would be able to use it as green space / a park, right? And that's kind of the way, that's how it was sold, that's the bill of goods people were sold. Clearly that's.
Well, and there's some discussion in here relative to that,
Yeah,
like that it would be a park. When you see the language in the agreement, it talks about the fact that at a certain point, once the demolition was done, that there would be like, the district would not have any more responsibility, but there was to be things like benches and I don't know if it specifically says play structures or not, but it does talk about it. It leads you to believe that the party's intent was that it was going to be for use as a park.
Right.
and there was discussion, I think at one time even too, about talking about, there was an older schoolhouse down in South Redford, they considered moving that and making that kind of like a little historical area. There was a lot of discussion about what was gonna happen with that property and how it was supposed to be to the benefit of our community.
And again, Jackie's gonna,
Never.
in looking at this today, and especially in looking at this one document, it did raise some additional questions for me.
As to what was actually.
And I'm gonna ask Jackie to even just do a second look to see if there's anything relative to this issue around this March 2012 date, to see if this agreement actually developed more over time.
Right.
But at an initial look, and I know she did a pretty deep dive to try to find as much as possible, this is all that she was able to find.
Because when you look at.
And I do want you to know, like, for example, this first document, I just printed off the first page, that's not the full agenda, but I asked for the first page to be printed along with page 3, because that's where the relevant information was. There was no need to print off the whole agenda. And likewise with the meeting minutes,
Right.
it was the first page of the meeting minutes and then the relative portion that applies.
So, this agreement is from 2012, which is almost a year after the resolution.
Yeah, there's things that suggest
So
there
there's
was
some
some
holes.
sort of back and forth, but at least at an initial deep dive, these are the documents that Jackie was able to resurrect.
Thank you,
From our
Jack.
system.
Thank you,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
And then ultimately, it gave us an idea that that's when I also went over to the business office and asked Terry if she recalled anything and could look, and that's when she ended up finding the quit claim deed.
Thank you.
To the chair.
Mr. Bailey.
So I ran across somewhere in here where the property sold is supposed to be split equally between the township and the district. Also in the agreement 3.9, it lays out the responsibilities of the district and the township in regards to that property. Also, Ms. Warren, a FOIA request to the township asking for their file. Might be able to fill in some holes if you've got holes.
Yeah, we can pursue that if we need to. We can also just pick up the phone and ask them to send us the documents.
One way they have to do it under the law, the other way they can stretch it out, so if you're in good terms with them.
Yeah, we have a good relationship with the township, at least when they want something from us, so we'll pursue that before.
Like you
we
denied the
actually-
driveway, right? We're still on good terms.
I think we are, Because we had a rationale for why we needed 2 exits out of that property. We can't have a bus yard that only has 1 exit and entry point.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
I can tell you, there might have been one person who wasn't happy, but Mike Dennis, who Miles and I interact with most often, and the township supervisor have never mentioned the fact that we did not entertain their request for an easement. So there was somebody else within the township that was even asking the question. So I do believe we're still on very good terms with the township.
Thank you. Is there any further questions, discussion regarding this? All right. Okay, 2025.
And then just so you know, we will bring up this topic again because I know there's current parcels of property that need to be talked about. So I wouldn't be surprised if on either the October or November agenda, we revisit that as well.
To the chair.
Mr. Bailey?
So I asked this question before, I believe. Do we have deeds, copies of deeds for all our properties?
I'm sure we do.
But we were unsure about this. Is there any chance?
No, we
can
were
make
unsure. What we were unsure about was there were 2 different versions about what happened with the property. So then we dug into that and found out what happened to the property.
Yeah, it's a quick claim deed, yeah.
So the thing is, can we make sure? The parks had the same problem, right? They couldn't lay their hands on the deeds. And the deeds can tell, like the old schoolhouse, I don't know if there's a restriction in it that the property has to go back to the family. I don't know. But it would be nice to know where we stand with all our properties.
All right, I'll get our new interim CFO working on that.
Sounds like I'll be working on it.
Yeah, Miles working on it, actually. Miles working on it would be cheaper, so we'll probably do that. Miles costs a lot less.
And you get voluntold to do a lot, don't you?
Had to do it for the secondary campus property once already. Was what it was.
All right. Any further questions?
Don't let him fool you, he goes to Terry, and then he has Terry dig into it.
But you know, like that takes work.
He's a full.
That's a lot of work.
If she answers the first time, right?
Oh, she always answers for Miles.
No,
Yeah. It's Jason, she probably doesn't answer for. She's probably like, don't come over here in my space. All right, are we good there? All right.
Yeah.
2025 capital bond project update.
Yeah, we just wanted to just briefly update the board, so you're aware you guys, it was on the agenda, we did name French as our architect and engineering firm, along with some of their partners that they're gonna be bringing to the table, for this project that they weren't working with previously. And we did do, I'll let Mr. Steiner maybe just talk. We did do interviews last Thursday
Yes.
morning.
Yes.
And we did talk with 3 different firms to potentially be our construction manager for the upcoming project. So if you just want to tell a little bit about who we interviewed. And just so you know, we did have members of the advisory committee that were named were present for those interviews. Mr. Osowski was present for 2 of the interviews that he was able to make, and the one he wasn't able to make was actually Chrisman's. And he knows Chrisman team obviously very well from the 2021 project. Mrs. Dean was able to join us virtually, and so she sat in on the 3 as well. And Mr. Thomasitis was there, Ms. Crenshaw was there. We also had 1 member of the community who's on the ad hoc advisory committee that joined us, and that was Mr. Kick. And we haven't, group. We haven't had a chance to reconvene yet because we want to do that before we bring things forward to the board so we can have the benefit of having their reflections and everything. But Mr. Steiner, I think, could tell you at least a little bit about the three firms. Obviously, really the two additional firms to the Christmas team, because you guys know the Christmas team.
So, good evening, everyone. So we had three firms, Chrisman, Granger, and Rockford. All three are players in the construction market, all fully capable of handling the project. We've had experience over the years with all three. It was interesting, kind of the way the three approached the presentation. So Chrisman started off essentially with a new project manager, I believe pretty much the same superintendent. Kind of outlined their game plan to handle the project. We had the second presentation by Granger. They took a little bit different approach. They brought in their estimator, VP of pre-construction, kind of laid out all the forces that they have below them in terms of mechanical and electrical engineers. And given that this is a heavy mechanical electrical bond program, that's where their focus was. So we got a good read on their estimating capabilities, but we did not meet the superintendent or the project manager. The third company was Rockford. They brought in their full crew. They brought in pre-construction team, project manager, superintendent, and their senior VP. Walked us through. They're doing like Chrisman and Granger. They have a similar program in a close by community. Kind of walked us through their approach to the project. So I've worked with Chrisman and Rockford over on the west side of the state. It's a little bit different crew than what they brought over here. Granger's doing work with us in a major school district now as well. So, like I said, it was kind of interesting to see their approach, how the capabilities of the firm, what resources they're going to put forth to manage the project. So kind of next steps is the district is doing conversations or having conversations with their references, and then once that information is had, then we will reassemble and start to narrow it down to the selected firm. But good enthusiasm, good dialogue amongst the team and the district, so it was a productive morning.
And I do believe, I have my own initial thoughts based on the interviews, but I want to definitely hear and value the input from the advisory committee people who also attended, as well as myself, Mr. Thomasitis, are going to be reaching out and doing those reference checks, not only with people they mentioned, but even some people maybe they didn't mention, and because sometimes that's the best source of information. And then
You're not gonna mention somebody that didn't like the work.
And then we're going to share those impressions and things with the advisory group as well when we reconvene. But I will say this, I felt that all three firms could provide us the type of support we're looking for and need at potentially varying levels, but I'm confident that Plant Moran, Real Point brought us three firms who have education experience in the education sector. They have current experience in that education sector, and they're committed to this region and area of Michigan, potentially in addition to other regions as well. So I was pleased to see that, because sometimes when you get in those interview settings, it's like you're scratching your head wondering if one of the three can even like support you on the project, but that wasn't the case here, so.
To the chair.
Mr. Bailey?
So I'm sorry, what's our lineup?
What?
Now, who do we have for the people that will be doing this project?
No.
We didn't vote. We just- they're up for vote.
So far, our designated owner's representative on the project, which Mr. Steiner's here tonight on their behalf with Plant Moran Real Point. And Mr. Steiner's the dedicated owner's rep for the 2025 bond project through Plant Moran Real Point. And then we have French was selected as the architect and engineering firm. And most notably, they're gonna be bringing a mechanical and electrical, engineer on board, Ignite, which has had rave reviews from around, multiple people around the state actually on their work.
And you say their name is Knight?
Ignite. IGNYTE, I believe.
Thank you.
And they're out of Kalamazoo, but they work all over the state of Michigan.
And who's left?
We need to select our construction manager as constructor. So the role that the Chrisman team played on the 2021 bond project, we're considering the Chrisman team again, along with 2 other firms. And that was the update we just provided.
Thank you.
What's our timeline?
I mean, ideally, we want to do something in the month of September. Do I think with the timing of things, it could trickle into the first part of October? It could.
Okay.
Because we have to have advisory committee meetings, and
Correct.
then there's,
Right.
September moves real quick once school gets going, so.
Yep, yep.
Definitely does.
Okay, just curious. All right, any further questions, comments, concerns?
And we really have to have our initial meeting as a advisory committee too, because that was kind of like a,
You guys got a baptism in fire.
like it really wasn't an official meeting because the agenda for that was pretty much set. We were gonna do the 3 interviews, they were lined up, so.
By the way, here's the
Right,
thing.
right.
When I saw that email come out, I was like, okay. Just throw you right into it. All right. Okay, we will move on then to item G, student representative selection.
So I just wanted, before I do, I want to let you know that one of the individuals who actually applied through the student representative selection process and participated that is with us tonight. One of our soon-to-be seniors, Axel Barajas. And he's here tonight. So he's right there, the young man.
Hi, Axel.
Hi, Elsa. And he actually has.
He has a public comment. We'll wait a few more minutes for that. We'll just give an overview of the process. And then we'll be to that point on the agenda where you can share what you came here. And we appreciate you coming out on an August summer evening to
Yes.
join us tonight.
Yes.
That speaks volumes of your dedication and interest in this position. And I just wanted to go over for the board. There was questions Mr. Bailey had actually asked about wanting to have this as an agenda item at a workshop. So I wanted to let you know that this is the process that was undertaken back in May for the student representative selection process. So the high school put this process together. And step 1 was they went about communicating the opportunity, and it was posted on hallway monitors and communicated daily during the Panther time for 2 consecutive weeks. So that was step 1 of the process. Step 2, submissions. Interested students, again, through those announcements, were directed to submit a 1-page paper explaining why they would like to be the next student representative. And then step 3, review and recommend. Those submissions were reviewed by a team that included Ms. Asha Shaw, Mrs. Lindsay Taylor, and Ms. Robertson. So it was our early college director, our career and tech director or coordinator, and then also our assistant principal at the high school, along with myself and Mrs. Pridemore. So those submissions, which we received 2, out of the whole student body, we got 2. Out of 2 weeks of announcements, we got 2. And Mr. Barajas is one of those who submitted it. We reviewed those submissions, and then I do know that I have the feedback relative to those submissions. Like, if we were looking at doing a majority, each of those individuals, Ms. Shaw, Mrs. Lindsay Taylor, Mrs. Robertson, and Mrs. Pridemore, along with myself, indicated who our selections, our top selection would be from the 2 who submitted it. And that is the process that was utilized thus far. No official appointment has been made, but that's the process that was utilized. And that process is more intensive than the process that was used previously.
Correct.
When we resurrected the student representative program, that this process was not the process that was used. And I'll be honest with you, I pretty much asked Mr. Taylor if he had somebody in mind, and I can't tell you the process he did to bring our student representative forward, but I can tell you he did a nice job in selecting someone who was very representative of our student body and enthusiastic about that. And that's one of the things when we talk about the student submissions we received and the steps we utilized. I do want you to know that the student feedback was that there might have been maybe some others interested, but some of that feedback was a lot of our students were concerned about the time commitment it would take. And also evening transportation is a concern for some of our students, especially being a district that is relatively 20 to 25% schools of choice students. And also being in a community where, unlike some other high school communities, many of our students, even resident students, don't have their own transportation. And then there was a question about what the real incentive would be to be on the board as the student
Our
representative.
undying gratitude.
So are you describing the first representative or the current?
I think I've
selection
been
program?
clear that this is a selection process for where we're at now that was used in May 2025, and that it differs from the process that was used previously, and I already spoke to that.
Right, but you're talking about, there is possibly some others that were interested in it and all this other. So you're talking about the first representative, you're talking about this?
I'm talking about when they went through these steps, some of the feedback they got from individuals who they thought maybe would consider it. These were the reasons we were given there at the bottom about why they didn't consider it and submit it.
For the selection.
So are we gonna have 2?
No. We're gonna
No,
have
what he was saying is
We
that
have one individual that we would recommend.
No, it says rotate 2 students throughout the school year. So we have 2 people signed up.
That's what's.
And now
That's a
the question who we're gonna
possibility.
select.
That's an idea.
So that's all it is. Rotate 2 is just an idea.
It's an
yes,
idea.
under ideas.
We have 2 people who are very interested in being the student representative. And so one alternative that could be considered and recommended could be to have 2.
Yeah, that's what's cool. They've already stepped forward, right?
So that's followed this year. We haven't done that, we did it this year. To my knowledge, it's the first time that we've ever actually followed the process, this kind of a process. In the past, somebody came to us and made a recommendation. Typically, it was somebody who, it wasn't always a student that was the right fit. And so I was pleased with, that's why it went away, was because it just wasn't, it wasn't working the way that we were doing it in the past. And I think we were very, very fortunate to change it. And I like that there were, this many people involved in it. Whomever the seat goes to, you have really big shoes to fill. Because Alicia did such a great job. Yeah, we were not, but we have a pretty good idea where we're gonna go, I think, but.
So will we find out, did you say?
And I would expect that a recommendation will be brought forward at now that is an item that will be
Yes.
able to be included on the
Because
board meeting agenda for the September meeting.
we need to get them in place.
Before school starts, yeah.
That's correct. Are there any further questions?
In fact, we might put that early on the agenda so that if we have named a successful representative, they could even join us that evening.
Oh, that,
Just like when we do the vote of the officers and things like that.
Yeah.
that sounds great.
All right. Any more questions regarding that?
But when that recommendation comes forward, at least you will have the benefit of knowing the process that was utilized. All right?
Thank you, this was good.
All right, call to the audience. Public participation regarding board workshop. Axel, come on down.
And again, Axel, thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Thank you for
Yes,
coming out.
thank you.
I'm not scary. You can come so.
Not all the time, at least.
Not all the time. Yeah. Only if you make me
It's all right.
really. So tell everybody who you are and.
Good evening. I'm Axel Barajas Zittel. I'm the age of 17, currently going into my senior year and my second year of the early college program. I was a student at Redford Union ever since second grade. And just because I'm a student, and I'm not going to say I'm the greatest student, right? Because there's a lot greater students than me. But ever since second grade, I've noticed a lot of change in this school. Like every year I've came here, there's always change. And since high school, it's felt like a new era. And ever since I got to apply for student representative, I felt like the feelings I've felt at the school, which have always been positive, I've loved this school. No other school would ever be better than this, in my view. I feel like I would love to be part of the new era of Redford Union because we're building a lot. We have a new building for early college. We have a new athletic gym, and it's just amazing that our school is improving and flourishing.
Yes.
Flourishing. And I would love to be part of that new era and representative of the students of what we want to and improve the school.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you very much.
I'll tell you that, like, the letters that they wrote, both students, I was really impressed with the caliber of the two students that submitted their letter of interest, and
He came out.
yeah, it's not an easy decision, because
To the chair,
Mr. Bailey.
are we able to get a copy of the letter?
So I can make sure those letters are included in the packet when the item is included on the agenda.
So, and the thing is again, unlike these, can we get them where we can have time to read them as opposed to just being given before a meeting?
Yes, because those relate to an action item that will be on the agenda, I'll make sure to.
Well, action
get to it.
item or not, if we can get this stuff before we were trying to study through it, like the,
Well, the only
Cocaine
thing
deeds
that,
and
the only things
agreements.
that weren't provided to you in advance, Mr. Bailey, was the update relative to the bond project, and that's because there was work still taking place all weekend long, and I wanted to give you as accurate an update as possible. And then the second thing was related to an item that I know you're gonna wanna dig into further anyway. But your message is heard, Mr. Bailey. And I hope, just in a similar fashion, that the message was heard about what good governance is and what it isn't. And the fact that you're video recording this meeting tonight is another example of poor board governance on your part.
To the chair. Could I ask Axel a question?
You can ask him a question, yes.
Besides early college program, are there other things that you're involved in within the school?
Yes. I do sports.
Okay.
So I left a few sports, but currently I'm team captain of the bowling team.
Okay.
I'm also a drum major at the Redford Union Marching Band,
Nice.
going into my last year.
Okay.
And
So he's got one of those new uniforms.
Yeah, I'm just
I'm
saying.
a band mom, so that just
Really?
makes me, yeah, my kids are alumni.
I used to be a drum major
Oh, and my
It's
son's
a
a
great
drum
honor.
major.
when I was in high school.
Doesn't he look, I thought you were like a linebacker for the football team.
oh,
So bowling and band, what else?
Okay.
What do you do?
bowling
Just
band,
bowling band?
symphonic band,
Symphonic. Okay.
Okay.
What instrument do you play?
trumpet.
Nice.
Nice.
And bowling, he said
what was your
Bowling, yeah.
instrument?
Me?
Yeah,
None. Don't know how to play it. And I'd always respect people who do know how to play
Yep,
it.
yep, yep.
For sure. Thank you, Axel.
Thank you. Does anybody else have a question they want to ask Axel?
I'm just impressed.
how do you pronounce your last name?
Happy he's here.
Barajas.
Or us?
Barajas.
Barajas.
The J is an H.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Axel. We appreciate you. All right.
Thanks for coming out.
All right, so not gonna go to future meeting dates just quite yet. I'm gonna take a minute and I'm gonna call Ms. Johnson's attention to our table over there.
Drum roll.
We have,
I wonder if she picked up on it yet.
I was wondering who was pregnant.
Mr. Wazowski,
Yeah. He said what?
we just wanted to show you a little love from your fellow board members. We're super excited
That
and
is
happy
so
for
sweet.
you. So we have cake and lots of goodies for
Thank you so
little baby-
much.
the babies.
I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you and we're so excited the board's having a baby.
Oh, wait, that's why Miles stuck around.
I know.
That's a smart man.
More
than kids. Future meeting dates, Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, regular meeting, 5:30, here in the district meeting room. Tuesday, September 16th, board workshop, that is our board self-assessment, facilitated by MASD, 5:30, here in the district meeting room. Monday, October 6th, regular meeting, 5:30, here in the district meeting room. And Tuesday, October 21st, board workshop, 5:30, here in the district meeting room. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Osowski, seconded by Ms. Miller. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes?
Yes.
She is, yep. We are adjourned at 6:33 p.m. I'm like 1 hour.
So I sent that one to myself too.
Look at that.
Is it a cart somewhere for her?
We'll probably.
Oh,
And I'll let kids some cake.
So,
Yes, you said diapers, I was trying
Yeah.
to get it going.
That's coming out.
I was trying my best, but the bottom layer is one, the other layer, start at the top, because it's newborn. You can turn around, but once you fluff the flowers out, You know what I mean? I just made it 3D. Look, I didn't put balloons on there. You know,